Welcome back, everyone, to the weekly Armchair Kickoff podcast. We're on the United show today, Devil's Advocate. And today, we're here to discuss this Thursday's Europa League game between Manchester United and Granada. And today, I'm joined by three very special guests here on the show today. So we're joined by Amy, past Three Devils in the Gooner, and also Ray, and also right below me, resident Mr. Greg Chambers. And today we're here to discuss all things Manchester United, most importantly the Europa League. So League is on also here this evening. We've done a Champions League preview here today, and call us out. We were dead. We were dead wrong with our predictions in terms of who would win the Liverpool and Real Madrid game. If you've missed that, go back and check it out, because I think when you go back, you see there's a couple. Greg, reason why we're here is to talk about Manchester United here this evening. So I suppose firstly, Amy, I'll come to you first. Obviously in the weekend we had a 2-1 win against Brighton. And I suppose for most of us, again, it was another second half FC performance. We kicked on the second half, got the 2 goals, played very well for the large part of the second half, and got the all-important 3 points. And what's your overall assessment of the games on the game Sunday?
Yeah, look, I said last week that it was going to be a tough game regardless, because we always go into these games and we make them hard for ourselves more than anything. So I think we were just lacking a little bit of creativity, to be honest, and we were just missing that killer ball. And like they always make these games hard for themselves. But look, there's going to be games where we have to win ugly. So delighted with the 3 points, to be honest.
Yeah, like look, I suppose I was on the show the other day. I said it'd be a 3-1 United. I thought we'd be comfortable, and I thought we'd have enough quality to kind of get over the line and obviously get all 3 points. And I thought we dominated large parts of the game. But fair play to Brighton. I thought they played fantastically well. I thought Graham Potter had them set up well. They pressed well. Obviously, Danny Welbeck got into the right position to get the goal. For me, it was probably a combination of both, where yes, Lindelof and Wan-Bissaka probably could have communicated a bit better with each other in terms of their position for Danny Welbeck's goal. But other than that, I have no other complaints really. I thought going forward, like Bruno, like Rashford, Mason Greenwood, their movement was quite superb. Paul Pogba in midfield, I know he gave away the ball for the goal, but you can see how different our passing looked when Pogba's on the ball compared to when we have both McTominay and Fred in there. So I thought the overall balance to the team looked a lot better with Pogba in the side. Rach, I'm going to come to you with regards to the game. Obviously, Edison Cavani came back after kind of a couple of weeks out, first start in quite some time up front. Didn't look the sharpest. And then when we seen Mason Greenwood get moved up front, obviously he got a goal straight away, and he was someone who actually played well, and we've all been clamouring for him to go up front. What was your thoughts on the performance of Mason Greenwood on Sunday?
I think it's been coming for a few weeks. He's been absolutely smashing it, and you can tell that he's just grinding through it, getting back to his old self, because the start of the season, it was rough for the kid. I mean, he had all that England drama with the media, his best friend passing away as well, so it can't have been easy for him. And with COVID and everything, it can't have been easy for the kid. It looked like he was really struggling with his self-confidence, with his personal life in general. But as the season's progressed and as he's kind of gotten back on his feet, he's kind of found his form again, he's found his feet. And even the past few games where I think he's been unlucky to score, he's still played well and he still looks like he's up for it. But I'm just glad that he's kind of now, he's got his shooting boots back on, and I hope that the game against Granada, if it goes the way that it should go, he can kind of get the confidence back up and get his shooting boots on, because I was saying this earlier, I think he's just got it. When you look at a footballer and you think you've got it or you haven't really got it, he has it. He's the complete package. Obviously, he's still very young, so it's not really fair to keep the pressure on him, but I think he is going to be an absolute star, and I can't wait for it because he's ours.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to throw just a interesting statistic because there's a lot of fans from different football clubs comparing their young players to our young players, and most particularly Mason Greenwood. So there was this Saka versus Greenwood debate that has been going on for a couple of months, and I'm just going to put this into a bit of perspective for everybody here. Greenwood's having his worst season, Saka's having his best season, and Greenwood has the same amount of goals in all competitions this season, and people are saying Saka's a lot better. Roll it up in the blunt, guys, and smoke it all day, because Mason Greenwood is a better player than Bukayo Saka, and you guys are just going to have to come to terms with that. I think that's what's just going to have to happen. But Greg, for yourself, I just had to get that dig out of the way because again, I just had to get it out there. For yourself, how do you feel about the game Sunday? Obviously, you yourself said it was going to be a tight one, and we'd make it hard for ourselves. So kind of, was that something you expected? Looking into the game.
Yeah. Well, I predicted 2-1. I said that we'd go behind and come back and win, but the game played out pretty much as I thought it would. I wasn't worried. I was worried about Brighton scoring maybe about 10 minutes after their goal. And then after that, I wasn't worried about them at all on the ball. I thought they felt that we stifled them really well at the base of midfield. I thought Fred played his best game in a Man United shirt this season. Really stopped the creativity. Basuma really wasn't a factor, and I thought he would be. If he got into that game early, he could have really damaged us from deep with his balls over the top. But I wasn't worried about Brighton at all. We dominated the ball. There was movement going forward. All we missed was that killer pass in that first half. And it's because the ball kept dropping to players like Greenwood and Cavani. So maybe where passing's not quite their bag. Whereas as soon as you saw it in the second half, the minute those balls were dropping to Pogba and Bruno Fernandes, we got in behind, and that's how we got our equaliser. And as soon as we got the equaliser, there was no doubt in my mind that we were going to go on and win it because we were the better side all night. And the overreaction about beating Brighton 2-1 was ridiculous. Like, some fans actually screaming that we only
Greg's after freezing on me now, or it's either my internet there now or something.
Oh,
was I gone there or you gone there, Greg?
No idea.
I could hear Greg fine.
Oh, perfect. That's fine. And yeah, I just it was you. No, I was just not worried about Brighton at all. I just thought, what if our fan base overreacted? Really, like, Brighton are a good side. Potter's a good coach. They're going to set them up really, really well. I thought we dealt with them brilliantly. We stopped their top players playing. Trossard ran us ragged earlier on in the season. I wouldn't be able to tell you he was on the pitch at points on Sunday. And Basuma as well. Basuma was so key to keep out the game. Like I said, Fred had his best game, sort of keeping him intact. But I thought we were brilliant, to be honest, for coming back after an international break. We had a lot of our players play 3 games, if not 2 games, all over the world, and a really busy season. You probably couldn't ask for a better performance than that. I thought we were fantastic.
Yeah,
really
look, I thought.
Sorry, I don't really think you can kind of count after the international break as well, because usually you're either really rusty or the players that have gone on international break, it's easy for them. So it's hard when you're coming back from an international break. So I'm just hoping that that's the problem that's gone on with Cavani as well, is that obviously he's had that time out, and he did struggle. He massively struggled, which is sad to see. But I mean, Greenwood took advantage 100%.
Yeah, the minute he got moved in the centre, he got his goal.
But by all means as well, like, some players needed game time too, like Pogba come back from injury, so he definitely needed minutes. So it definitely benefited Pogba. And I'm glad Shaw got game time as well, but I'm glad that he got that little bit of rest too.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I think Bruno Fernandes getting a rest was massive. Like, you see, he had a lot more energy in the game overall in midfield. You've seen that he had a lot more kind of spring in his step. The zip there was in his passing. Even from his first touch, you could see that the sharpness was there. I think obviously that week off, like, people might think a week off is a lot, but for these footballers in the current environment that they're playing now, playing a game, 2 games nearly every 3 days, 4 days, a week off to them now is probably like the equivalent of what 2 weeks off would be. And Mo Salah's after scoring, Sean just said there.
Yeah, they just scored.
Yeah. Look, that's neither here or there. But look, Liverpool are still going to lose this game, hopefully. Anyway, like, you look at Bruno, I thought that getting that rest was massive for him.
Yeah, I thought Maguire was brilliant as well. I thought he really benefited
for the rest of the season. I think if he can stay injury free, it's huge. But obviously, we looked at Brighton, and I think kind of for us to get them 3 points and to get over the line, especially after having, again, it probably looks it after giving terms of getting us into the top 4 and probably solidifying ourselves in that top 4 position, and also getting over Leicester City too, in second place as well. And so all in all, especially with all of our rivals, I thought it was massive from that. But I suppose, like, going back to Mason Greenwood, we talked about previously just on the show, and I kind of look at it's like someone who's going to be on the move this. He could be most likely going to Boca Juniors, and looks like that deal is going to be done. So I'm just going to come to you first, Greg. When you look at the form of Mason Greenwood as of late, he's had to score a couple of goals, and he looks like to be done. And is this time now for the rest of the season that we make Greenwood our number 9? Go give him that vote of confidence, and maybe though in the future get him into that. He is young. He has the potential. So is now the time to maybe instill our trust in him, because Edison Cavani looks like to be on the move in the summer.
Yeah, he's not going to get a better chance, is he, in his whole time at Man United to get a chance to play the number 9. Martial obviously is going to be out for the rest of the season. Cavani didn't look up to it, whether it be fitness or age or anything like that, on Sunday. So if we're going to give someone a chance, why not give Greenwood a chance? He scores goals. We know he does. He scored a lot of goals last season for his important goals as well. So why not give him a chance? He can only get better by playing there. He's not going to get better by playing out on the wing. He's not become a better number 9 by playing on the wing. And one advantage you'll always get, like Man United players that come through the system will always get, they'll get that extra bit of time. They'll get the license where if they make a mistake, they'll get that extra leeway with our fan base as well that maybe an incoming signing wouldn't get. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind if it comes to it in the summer and we need to sort of decide which positions are key. If we're going to decide to just go with Greenwood, then yeah, absolutely. No one's going to complain, because as Man United fans, or proper Man United fans, we believe that Greenwood is going to be someone that could help this club moving forward. And it's not just a case of bringing in someone that's scored 20 goals in a pub league in Europe. It's got to be somebody that's going to want to score goals for Man United. So yeah, I think Greenwood's the best option going forward for the rest of the season. And if it means sorting out positions to get in the summer, and maybe a striker's less key. Obviously, that doesn't seem to be the case. Seems like Ollie really wants a striker. Then yeah, absolutely, it should be Greenwood going forward.
Yeah, with Greg there on the Greenwood situation.
Yeah, completely. I love Greenwood, and he's Manchester through and through. Like, that's why we love him so much. I don't think there will be a better time for him, to be completely honest with you. But I think the reason why Ollie wants a striker so much is because he doesn't want to put that pressure on him to be the star and the only one, if that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, he is still like a child. Yeah. And I don't think it's necessarily fair on him to just chuck him in like he did last season. But that was obviously forced, and that was out of his hands. But I mean, he had a great debut season. I mean, this season has been apparently his worst season, which isn't actually too bad. Yeah. But I just don't think he wants to throw him in at the deep end and put him under so much pressure, because I think he just wants to bed him in properly. I mean, we've seen with Ollie, with the whole Donny situation and Tellez and everything, he likes to bed players in. So even though Greenwood has been at the club a long, long time, I think he is just waiting to get him 100% kind of at that striker, that number 9 level, before he kind of commits to that kind of pressure for him. And I think that's why we're looking for an established striker so much in the summer, because we need someone here and now, because the goals, they're not as free-flowing as what they were. And especially with Martial, Rashford's always carrying some sort of injury, and Martial out for the rest of the season as well, and God knows how he's going to get on in the summer transfer window. I think we need a striker, but there's also so many other areas of the pitch that we need to strengthen before a striker, so like a CDM and a centre-back, 100%.
Yeah, I think Greenwood, I think it's time enough for Greenwood now to maybe, if he can, Joe obviously put a run together, get a couple of goals this season, I think he can maybe cement that number 9 spot. I think it's definitely doable because obviously we're in a big period with the Europa League, 2 legs against Granada. We play Spurs, we play Leicester, we play very good teams. And if he can score goals in them games, he'll definitely be in Ollie's mind for the number 9 role next year. Amy, how are you feeling with this? Do you think is this too soon for Mason Greenwood, considering he had off the field problems and stuff like that at the start of the season? And like as we all kind of like referred to, he hasn't been his best year this season. Do you maybe think, is it too soon, or do you maybe think if a player's good enough, they're old enough?
Well, I mean, he did have a great season last season, right? But he's still so young, so he's not going to consistently play that well every season. But by all means, I think with the injuries that we have there at the moment, now was the opportunity for him. But like, I completely agree with the lad there in the fact that like the last few games that he's played, the last 5 or 6 games he's played, he's looked hungry and he's looked wanting to score a goal. So he has scored in the last 2. So hopefully he can push on from that now, to be honest, because I think he just needed that little bit of a confidence boost.
Yeah, I think like earlier on the season was lacking confidence, but you kind of seen the last kind of 5 or 6 weeks, anytime he's played, he's been expansive. He's been taking players on. He's been wanting to do things with the ball. He's never shies away from, trying something. And I think that's something I like, especially at his age, to have that maturity in his game. Like, not many 19-year-olds have that maturity. I think Phil Foden is another, like, who's someone of that kind of level where they play like they're years older than they actually are. Yeah. So yeah, look, I think it just remains to be seen kind of what happens with him. But I'm all for playing him up front for the rest of the season, because I think he's the best finisher at the football club. And you look at the amount of chances we miss, when he's not front, when you have a Martial or a Cavani playing there. I think Mason Greenwood scores some of them chances that we've missed this season if he's in them positions. So I think if he can put a run together at the end of the season, be a massive confidence, and again, he can only get better. Because look, at the end of the day, people can say he's still a kid, he's 19, but we bought Wayne Rooney he was 18 years of age, we paid 30 million for him. Yeah. And we put him in from the start, and he was a generational talent. So why not put Mason Greenwood in there? Do you know what I mean? Why not? Do you know? I think that's the question. Why not? But kind of obviously looking at Granada this week. Obviously they're a team in the Europa League this season where they've beaten Molde this season. You've obviously looked at it last weekend. They lost to Villarreal, another team who are in the Europa League, managed by Unai Emery. They lost 3-0 over the weekend. They play kind of open football. From what I've kind of done the research on, they do play attacking football. They do play a high line, very kind of similar to what Real Sociedad played though against us, and kind of Celta Vigo when we played them in the Europa League. Very similar styles to them two teams. Kind of looking into the game, because obviously we've had 2 very kind of hard draws in AC Milan and Sociedad, 2 teams who are heavily fancied when the draws were made, for the group stage and the knockout stages too. Rach, I'll come to you first. How are you feeling about this game? Do you maybe think now this is our first favourable draw in a cup competition this season? Are you confident with the situation playing Granada this week, or would you rather kind of got an Ajax or Roma or even Banter FC Arsenal?
So when the draw came out, I thought that's probably the most favourable draw that we've had in a very long time, because I mean, when the first draw came out and you think, oh, Real Sociedad, that's probably the hardest or one of the hardest games that we could have gotten, and then the next one as well. So I do think we were definitely due a favourable draw. I'll never ever say easy draw, because at the end of the day, they're in the Europa League quarterfinals. They're a European team. So and at the moment with Man United, you can never really say, oh yeah, that's easy, because we're dealing with Sheffield United, West Brom, all those situations where you can't really count anyone out. And I think if you go into a game underestimating a team, it's not going to go well for you. So I know they are on a 3-game losing streak as well, so they haven't won in 3 games. They're currently 9th in La Liga, so they're middle of the ground, so they're safe in La Liga. So I think they will maybe prioritise the Europa League above anything else. So I think they will definitely be up for it. But I actually did some research, and they've had 6 red cards this season. So they're quite a dirty team, and like I said before, they are an attacking team as well. They like to press. So I think maybe that could work to our advantage. Because
do I smell a penalty coming this? Do I smell a penalty coming this Thursday?
It could be. It could be a penalty and a few red cards, I think. But yeah, they are a bit of a volatile, dirty team. So I mean, anything could happen, really.
Amy, before I get your thoughts in the game, I'm actually just going to give this question to you and also to Greg as well. Evan, who is a Chelsea fan, is in the house today. Evan says, who would you prefer in your team at this moment in time? Mason Greenwood or Lingard at the moment with his West Ham form? And I think, hold on a second, I'm a couple of seconds behind here. Amy, before you give your point, I just want to see this goal. 1 second.
Wait, what's going on?
Madrid scored.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes! Oh! 3-1. But, yeah. I predicted 3-1 on the show earlier on today for
the other way.
3-1. Yeah, the other way. But at least I got the scoreline right anyway. But anyway, Amy, back to the question. At the moment, would you prefer Mason Greenwood or Jesse Lingard on his West Ham form?
Don't know why you're even asking me this question. Like,
Greenwood
all day long.
Absolutely pointless.
Not a question.
Greg, do you have any different opinions to Amy?
Oh, it's Greenwood. It's Greenwood all day long. Like, Lingard's great. He's been absolutely fine, but that's for West Ham. Like, there's a difference in playing for West Ham, playing for Man United. Lingard proved over the last few seasons that sometimes he does struggle to play at that level for Man United. So it's definitely Greenwood, 100%.
Yeah, I say Greenwood too, but I just want to shout out Jesse Lingard. Again, last night, fantastic performance. Again, Jay Lings, I'm a very big advocate for Jesse Lingard. Everyone knows at this stage. Yeah, Jesse Lingard doing me a good one there. Help us get Declan Rice. Everyone knows how much I love Declan Rice. As a man. Especially the fact he he chose England over Ireland. But look, we move away from that anyway. We have a comment here from Jake. Jake says Amy loves Lingard. Paul's in the house. I'm Mod. Paul is in the house. Paul says, evening guys. Evening, Paul. I hope you're well. We have another comment in here. It says, Hala Madrid, anyone but Liverpool or Spurs. Well, yeah, look, Spurs aren't even in the European competition at the moment. So I absolutely agree with that one. Anyone but Liverpool or Spurs. Just take out Spurs now, put Manchester City in there, and we're absolutely on with that one. And just come to another couple of comments just before I come to Amy with regards to the game. Well, this should be fun. So Bruno Penn, right, Amy? So I suppose on the point of that comment, Amy, do you believe Manchester United are going to be confident coming to this game? And do you believe Bruno Fernandes gets a penalty kick this Thursday?
I never want to write any team off, right? But obviously we were all glad that we got Granada in the quarterfinals and not Ajax or Roma or any of those. But I want us to go out in the first leg and kill it off. Yeah. And I do believe we can kill off the first leg. But by all means, just like Rach said, we go out with any teams like this. Now, to be fair, Granada play football, which will probably benefit us a bit more. But I would rather us go out and kill off the first leg. And yeah, I do think there's a Bruno penalty on the cards if they do play that dirty.
Yeah, and again, look, for me, if you gave me a choice right now, do we get the Bruno penalty this Thursday against Granada and win the game, or Bruno penalty Sunday? I'm taking that Bruno penalty Sunday all fucking day long.
Yeah,
100%. Because I know
1-0 a minute and a half this time though, because that went quite badly really quickly.
Yeah.
You ever been lured into a more false sense of hope than getting a penalty after a minute?
What I love against Spurs is just 0-0 the whole game, right? 0-0 the whole game. Bruno gets it in the last minute in injury time and just scores it against Jose Mourinho. Do you know what I mean? Because he talked a lot of smack earlier on the season about Bruno Fernandes penalties. I'd love Ollie to put that final nail in the coffin with a Bruno penalty. That would just be beautiful.
I want us to absolutely smash them. Like, I want no mercy. I want them to think back to that 6-1 and think, all right, like, I'm not having any shit now. And I want them to go out there and absolutely just literally bury Jose Mourinho and make sure he never comes back. That's what I'm hoping for. And if he got sacked straight after the game, think about how good that would feel.
Oh,
could you imagine? I think I'd have a party. Like, I genuinely would. I'd have a one-man party.
Yeah.
We come on here to have. I think what we do is we definitely come on live on this show and just have a few beers. I think that's what probably happened. I think we just saw come in here and have a few drinks.
Hashtag Jose
I think
Mourinho
even the Tottenham
party.
fans on their channel would come on here live and have a few drinks if Jose Mourinho got the sack. Do you know what I mean? But
I tried to warn them,
Greg,
but they didn't listen. So,
Greg, yourself, any different feelings to the two girls in terms of the game on Thursday? Are you overly confident, or do you maybe think this could be a potential banana skin?
I think it could be a banana skin, but I wouldn't say I'm overly confident. I'm confident in the ability of this squad and sort of how Ollie's going to set them out to play. I think we're the favourites in the game. They've scored 34 goals in 29 games in the league, which is the equivalent to Brighton, but they've created 48% less chances than Brighton this season. So they don't create a lot of chances, they don't score a lot of goals. We've been really good in defence. All it's got to be about is really try to kill it off in one leg, like Sociedad. That was a professional performance from Man United that night against Sociedad. We went out, we killed it, and didn't have to worry about the second leg at all. And that's what it should be again on Thursday. Like, by all means, treat them with respect. Don't play two at the back and mess about the squad that much. Play your strongest squad, but play to your full potential, and you can effectively earn yourself a week off in a week's time very easily, because they've done well to get here, but they have, like Rachel said, they're on a 3-game losing streak. They did lose to Molde, so they got through in an away goal, losing 2-1 to Molde in the last round. They were the weakest team left in the draw. So yeah, absolutely, I think we should be obviously treating them with respect, but I would be very surprised if Man United didn't score at least 2 or 3 on Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going to come back to Matt's comment here. He thinks United are going to win 6-0, and they're going to show what John Cena used to say back in the day in terms of ruthless aggression. And I like that nice little WWE reference there, Matt. I really do like that. You know, you get 10 out of 10 in the comments. That's the best comment we've had all night so far. No disrespect to anybody. I don't like showing disrespect. Ruthless aggression. You know yourself. You can't see me. But anyway, in terms of this now too, like obviously, I think. Look, I suppose my point of view, I think this is going to be an easier game than Sociedad. They're a lot like less superior team. Than Real Sociedad. They obviously have a lot less quality in the team. Obviously, again, as Greg said, they were lucky to get through Molde the last time, and it's mad, isn't it? Like, we could have had Molde in this round, not Granada. Yeah. That would have been
against Molde.
Yeah, that would have been the dream. Like, that's what I wanted when we got to the last 32. But yeah, look, for me, I think, as Amy said, I kind of reiterate what she said. Like, I think we need to put the game to bed in that first leg. Just put the tie to bed. Go out, get 3 or 4, and then just, obviously we can rotate the squad between the Premier League and the Europa League, and do you know what I mean? We can keep the squad fresh, push for that second place, get the Europa League kind of done and dusted, and obviously have a look at the semi-finals. Like, have a view on the semi-final. If you can get a good league going into that first leg, then you can bring in an Ahmad in the second leg. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you can bring in a McTominay in the second leg. Do you know what I mean? Like, bring in players like that who can give us something different. Do you know? But obviously, like Jake even said there, like, there's 2 former Premier League players obviously playing at Granada as well. You have Kennedy that used to play for Chelsea, and also Roberto Soldado. Steve McGrath will tell you about Soldado. He was like one of the most prolific penalty takers in Tottenham's history. He scored nothing but penalties at Tottenham, even though he's coming up against a better penalty taker than Bruno Fernandes. So, Soldado will have to take a few tips off him. But like, obviously, looking at this game, I think we've more than enough quality. Even like Pogba and that weren't playing. Like, I think we have enough if we had McFred on, if we had, Cavani up top, Greenwood up top, even Martial, if Martial was fit, we'd have enough. So I'm not showing my disrespect because, again, like, anything can happen in a game of football over a course of 90 minutes, but you'd like to think that football arrogance prevails and, Manchester United go through, against Granada. But kind of obviously looking at the game itself, in terms of starting 11s, in terms of what, I'm not going to go predictions because I think with Ollie, it's kind of hard to predict an Ollie lineup because it's like doing the lotto. You just don't know who he's going to play in certain positions. So Amy, I'll come to you first. What would you like to see this Thursday against Granada?
It's hard to know because obviously I want us to go out and kill off the game. Now I know we said we had more than enough quality there to just kill it off, but right, I'm going to start. I think he's going to play Henderson again, so I'm just going to go Henderson, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw. Or will he play Tellez? I don't know, either one or Tellez. Midfield is actually a hard one because, to be honest, there is enough quality there. Like, I know, Greg, you don't really like Van de Beek, but I think this could be a nice game for him.
What an unnecessary.
If you wanted, obviously you could play Pogba out of position and play him on the left wing if you wanted and put Van de Beek in the pivot. But no. Right, I'm going to go McTominay, Pogba, Bruno. Dan James on the left. Ahmad on the right. And Greenwood up front.
So you've gone kind of a young front three. Yeah, that's interesting. Ellis from the Spectacle View podcast. And shout out to Ellis. Do check out Ellis's podcast. Do search up the Spectacle View. He covers all things Manchester United over there. So do catch Ellis's podcast. He says here, could we see Dan James starting like we seen against Sociedad? Looked really good going forward against their high line. Yeah, I'll get to that in my lineup now. I've Dan James in there as well. I'm going to give my lineup before I just come to Rach and Greg. I go obviously Henderson in goal. Again, look, he's the number one for me at the moment. I think David De Gea. If you're gonna nail down Henderson as number one, you make him number one both competitions, the Premier League and the Europa League this season. You really lay that marker that you give him that confidence that yes, you're 100% the number one. So I go Henderson in goal. Again, just by process of default. Aaron Wan-Bissaka right back again. Look, you've no other option. You don't start Brandon Williams there. I go obviously Lindelof, Maguire centre half just because, again, big game. Do you risk playing Tuanzebe there who hasn't played much football? I don't think so. I think you have to go Lindelof, Maguire.
Absolute donkey.
And I go then Luke Shaw at left back as well. Again, look, you have to kind of play your strongest back five, I think, in this game. You don't want like this to be a slip up. So for me, I think you have to go your strongest back five. In terms of the midfield too, I'm in agreement with Amy. I go McTominay, Pogba. I'm just playing McTominay in there just for his physical presence. Again, obviously set pieces like that could be key. I think we could dominate him with set pieces. And again, this is one of them things where I think we have to utilize that on Thursday if needs be. So again, I go McTominay, Pogba. Obviously in front of him go Bruno Fernandes. Again, that decision justifies itself. On the left hand side, I'm gonna go Daniel James. Again, this is just because Marcus Rashford's injured, and if you're going to preserve him for Sunday, by all means, I think we have to. You can't have him playing 3 games in a week. I think with his condition at the moment, do you know what I mean? I think it's pretty much you have to go Dan James in this game on the left. On the right, I'm actually going to put Greenwood out there, just simply because I think Ahmad, yes, he's been good, but I think Greenwood kind of has to play out on the right this game just because we're going to put Cavani in there because I think Greenwood should start up top on Sunday. And again, Cavani can't play 3 games in a week as well, looking at his injury record too. So I'm going to go Greenwood on the right and then Cavani up top, just for experience. Now, obviously, like Jamie says in the comments here, is the Spurs game bigger on Sunday? I say no. And the reason why I say no is this game's for a trophy. Like we have a cushion in the Premier League. Like we're what 4 or 5 points clear of third now. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that's how much we are. 4 or 5 points clear of third. Like again, yeah. So like, do you know what I mean? Top 4 is more secure. So this game is bigger because this is a chance at a trophy. If all he doesn't win a trophy, fans will be jumping down his neck. Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, all he's going to play is strongest 11 in this game, without a shadow of a doubt. I'm not saying that in any disrespectful way. I do agree. People may prioritize Spurs as a bigger game because they're a bigger club than Granada. That's true. But again, people are measuring all these success over trophies. So if you're going to do that, you play your strongest 11 in the only trophy you have a chance left to win. Because we're not going to win the Premier League. We're not even going to challenge for the Premier League. We're 14 points behind the league. So at the end of the day, this is a bigger game, in my opinion. Even though like Spurs are a bigger club, but the magnitude of this game against Granada is a lot bigger. There's a lot more at stake, in my opinion. Rach, what would you like to see this Thursday?
David De Gea in goal. Just the reason why I say that is because, one, I think he actually will do it because he's obviously had a lot of time off, and I think, with all due respect, if you're going to bring him back in, Granada is the better game to bring him back in than Spurs, because I think, you know, there's a difference there, not to be disrespectful, but I think he is going to go with David De Gea. And also, like someone said in the comments as well, about De Gea, to see him without the number 1, it is sad because he is a club legend, and in my eyes, he has been one of our player of the seasons for 4 seasons. He absolutely carried us. He dragged us through the Premier League some seasons, and I dread to think where we'd be without him. But obviously he is declining, but we need to look for the future. But at the same time, we need to be careful that we don't like burn bridges in a sense. Yeah, that's what I mean. We need to be careful about how we deal with it. I think he does want to leave because he wants to go back to Spain and be with his family and raise his child there, which is more than understandable. Mm-hmm. So I do think he is going to bring De Gea back this season. So I think he will bring him back in this game. Back 4 speaks for itself, really. I think it's going to be Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof and Maguire. And I think he's actually going to bring Tellez in instead of Shaw. And then if things don't really go to plan, he can bring Shaw on. But I think he will start Tellez in this game.
Make 5 subs anyway.
He can make 5 subs, but...
True.
For a substitute. Bless him, he's allergic to making subs. I actually think he's going to go with midfield of Fred and Pogba, like he did at the weekend. Bruno sitting in front of them, obviously. Then Ahmad, Greenwood and James. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
It's very progressive too. Again, Ahmad, like I'm not against it, but I don't know what's going to happen. Whether Cavani gets another chance up front to maybe get some more match sharpness, which he lacks, or does Greenwood just get the nod up top and then he plays the 2 young lads? You know, I think remains to be seen.
I think the thing with Cavani is all of his impact goals, or most of his impact goals, have come off the bench. So I genuinely think that if you start Greenwood and Ahmad as Greenwood as number 9, and then if things don't go to plan, you can take Ahmad off, move Greenwood out to the right, and then you can bring on Cavani, and then you've got that little bit of extra oomph because Cavani's a very intelligent player. He watches the game and he knows how to make an impact. I mean, we've seen it with most of his goals. He knows how to come on and score. So I think that's the best way to utilise Cavani because of his injuries. He's not great starting games in previous experience. So I genuinely think have him on the bench and then have him come on if you need a goal or 2.
Yeah, but he's not a bad option. Like, he's seen against Southampton, especially this season.
Exactly.
Like, he did make a difference. Like Daniel says that front three is a bit lightweight. But this one thing I say to you, Daniel, with that one is, and I can understand why you're saying that's a bit lightweight. One thing I'll say is Granada will play a high line. And if Granada are playing a high line, that front three battered on the counter-attack. So again, I can understand why you're saying lightweight, but I'm in agreement with Rich. Like, they'd be fluid, that front three, in terms of interchange and movement too. So yeah, look, it'd be interesting to see kind of what happens and what kind of front three Ollie goes with. Greg, do you have anything different? Do we maybe see in your 11 appearance some Mr. Donald Van de Beek? I think so. I'm changing channel.
Oh, have they? I hope so. Yeah, they have.
Oh yeah, we're in yellow today as well, by the way.
Royce scored. Nice. Yeah, so in terms of the 11, I think we'll see as the exact same as Rach, to be honest. I think that'll be the exact, in terms of what I would like to see, it is quite different. I actually would like to see him finish the game, or start the game how we finished against AC Milan, with Bruno sort of playing as that floating false nine. Like, I thought that really worked well because we got a lot of space in between, because the defenders were just they didn't know who to pick up because they were interchanging so well, and I thought Bruno played really well as that false nine. So in terms of the 11 that I would like to see, I'd quite like to see Henderson play in goal with Telles, Maguire, Lindelof, and Wan-Bissaka. Fred and Pogba as the midfield double pivot, with Van de Beek at the 10, Bruno as a false 9, and James and Greenwood out on the flanks. That's what I would like to see, but like I said, I think the team will be what Rich said. I think De Gea will come back in, just because this probably is going to be his last time at Manchester United, and it's what and Ollie will want to bring him in for the big games and for games that he deserves to play in. And let's be honest, De Gea's still a perfectly fine keeper. No one's saying De Gea is rubbish and he's washed and everything. He's maybe just not what we need going forward. And in terms of obviously him leaving in the summer, I think he's done enough for Man United to earn us sort of just paying him off and letting him go and choose his next club, rather than waiting around for a transfer fee and things like that. I saw a lot of people upset at the fact that we weren't going to sell him for money because we could get 30 million for him. But he might end up at a club he doesn't want to be at. He might not end up in Spain because the Spanish clubs are really struggling. So I think the least that Man United can do for him is to pay off his contract and allow him to pick his next club. But I would like to see Bruno start as a floating false 9 with Van de Beek in behind. I thought he was fine when he came on Sunday. I thought he didn't do anything damaging at all. I thought he played quite well. He was all right. But I just want him to do more. If he's going to get to do more, then there's not a better opportunity to do it. Sorry?
Did you see his movement? His movement for the goal.
He was about 3 yards away from kicking it off Greenwood's head. So let's not. Right.
No. Not kicking off Greenwood's head. Hold on a second. Pass leading up to the goal. Not see the movement. He doesn't take the right back away to make that space.
Woo! Brilliant. That's what we want to see. That's what I'm saying. Like that. If he's going to.
Oh, but look, you're not going to praise him, though, are you? No, but hold on a second. You're not going to praise him.
I just said he played well. I said when he came on, he was fine. He didn't come on. He wasn't amazing. Like he didn't come on and score a goal. Right. Otherwise, he came on and he was amazing. He just was. He was good. I'd quite like to see him start on Thursday. It'd be interesting to see how he does in the 10 role, playing with Bruno and playing with Pogba, getting a chance to do that. And to be honest, Granada is going to be the type of team that he's going to get to play against. And that's the one that's the team he's going to improve against, because he's not going to play on Sunday against Spurs. I don't care what any Man United fan. He's not going to play at all against Spurs. He might come off the bench, but I highly doubt it, because Ollie just doesn't seem to want to bring him on at all. So I'd quite like to see him start in behind Bruno. But I like the idea of Bruno as like a floating false 9, especially when we don't have like a striker, especially when Cavani's not fit, Martial's not fit. Why not? Why not give it a go? Give them something else to think about, because they're going to expect a 4-2-3-1 with a standard striker and slow build-up play. So give them a really creative midfield and a false 9 and see how they do. And then if it's not working, well, brilliant. You've got a second leg next week and you've got the whole second half as well. So there's nothing wrong with trying things. If you try things and go wrong, that's fine. But it would just be interesting to see how that worked.
Just imagine the social media do a breakdown if United play a false 9, people be shouting, Ollie out! Oh my God, Ollie out! Why are we not playing with a striker? Oh my God, Ollie out! Is this man serious?
That one system manager has changed system again. Only the 4th time this season, that one system manager, he's changed another formation. He's only got one system. Absolutely ridiculous.
It doesn't take much.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to address this before
to be fair, they've got about 3 brain cells, so getting on to each one of them isn't that hard.
What though? I'm just going to address this before I go to the score predictions, because I said I'm gonna address this. I seen a clip from a supposed United fan who was saying that they'd like to see United lose every game this season just so the manager gets sacked. Now, right?
Horrific.
I'm just going to say this now. How in your right mind, like why do you have this thought process, right? That you want your football club that you supposedly support, that you're a passionate supporter and you're a match-going supporter, you want your team to lose every single game just so your manager gets sacked, right? So I'm just going to break this down. So we lose every single game. We get knocked out in Europa League. We drop out the top 4 most likely. Your manager gets sacked. Your club then loses out in revenue, which doesn't help us get transfers in the summer, which means the new manager comes in, is going to be at a loss in revenue. You also then will have players like Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes who will not be playing Champions League football, probably wanting to leave too. Let's get that straight. And overall, it just doesn't benefit us next season when the new manager comes in, because then we'll be back in the Thursday night Emberdale Cup again, and that new manager will have injury problems again, just like this manager has had this year. So I'm not going to name you because you don't deserve to be named. But where in your irrelevant, tiny little mind does that make sense? Because it doesn't. And I'd like you, if you do see this, I'd like you to come back to me with a relevant reason why that is.
There's not even a manager available, so they want the manager out, but they don't know who they want to bring in. And now I know people are saying Allegri, but Allegri's going to play the same exact football as Jose Mourinho. So what's the fucking point?
It's just an Italian.
We're basically going back to fucking square one again. So what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a bit like wanting to crash your car to use the warranty, isn't it? It's a bit fucking backwards.
Oh,
yeah, Man City are actually scoring. Phil Foden.
Yeah, they just scored.
Dortmund's having an away goal.
Yeah, Dortmund have an away goal. They'll take them back to the wall and smash them.
I don't know well,
but like, going back to that,
I don't think they will. And they're going to rinse them.
But like, going back to that, like, again, if you support the football club, regardless it's United, whether it's Liverpool, whether it's Chelsea, or even Arsenal, Shamrock Rovers, whatever club you support, right? You don't want your team to purposely lose a game just so a manager gets out. So, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. And again, if this guy sees this clip, I'd be more than happy to sit down with him on a show like this, whether it's his or my channel, and let's have a civilized conversation, no swear words, and give me a valid reason why you want your football club to lose every single game for the rest of the season.
They expect this team to be exactly like the Fergie days, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But that's what they expect. It's never going to happen. Like,
and the teams around us are better than in the Fergie days. Like the teams in the mid-table in the Fergie days were shit. Like
even some games under Fergie, there was bad football played as well. Like no team is going to be perfect. Like so,
no,
it's almost like people are forgetting that we actually lost under Fergie.
Like, we
lost games under Fergie.
We had to win ugly under Fergie too. Like
exactly, and it's just stupid because we would lose points when we were playing under Fergie as well. But the reason why it didn't really matter was because the teams around us weren't of the caliber that they are today. They didn't have the revenue. They didn't have all the kind of bells and whistles that everyone has today. Now you've got at least a dozen clubs-ish, give or take a few, that can compete for that kind of the 6 to 10 or the 4 to 10 category. So, I mean, times have changed. Like, move on, hon. Like, we need to actually fight for the right to win. People think that obviously because we're Manchester United, we have to win everything. And obviously we would all love that, but it's not a given anymore like it was back in the day. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to actually work your ass off for it, and you've got to deserve it. And some of the performances this season haven't deserved it. And that just shows why we're out of FA Cup. You know, the fucking Champions League. Still have nightmares about that, but yeah, we have to earn it, and in those situations we didn't.
And this is the thing. This is where I harp this back to as well, right? Because they want to talk about progress, and there's a lack of progress, right? I'm just going to point this out to you guys here. Manchester United are 14 points better off than they were last season. 14 points. Yep.
And we didn't buy a starter.
Is that not
in the summer?
Like when you look at that, isn't that not progress? 14 points better off than you were last season, with the potential of being at this stage last season, like 14 points better off. So when you actually consider that and you go further, obviously we have the potential to pick up 80 to 84 points this season, which if we do that matter, if we finish above 81 points this season, that's a better league tally than Jose Mourinho ever did at United. And also consider if we win the Europa League, Ollie'd have to be considered more successful than Jose Mourinho. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of these things. But again, I want Ollie to prove these people so wrong, because at the end of the day, these people can get Allegri in, but it's going to be just as filthy as Jose Mourinho. You're going to see this brutal Route 1 bullshit.
Yeah.
The likes of Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba will run from the club with that manager playing at the football club. And, again, it's just one of these things where we'll regress rather than progress. So, again, I just don't understand.
We also don't want these fucking managerial merry-go-rounds like Chelsea do. Like, just stick with one fucking manager if we're seeing a bit of progress and keep going with it.
Yeah, and then if there's a genuine issue, then after a while, then it might be time for change. But right now, with all if you look at our last 3 seasons and you can't say that we've progressed under Ollie, you're either blind or thick. Like it's one of the two. Like we play better football on the whole in general than we did. Yeah, probably. We play better football on the whole in general than we did. All of our signings pretty much under Ollie have hit in some way. Like they all seem to gel in some way. He's cleared out so much deadwood, and obviously we're still waiting on Van de Beek to come good and Tellez and things like that to really show. But they're trying to displace players at the very top of their game. Like they're trying to displace Shaw and Bruno, who are our 2 best players this season. So you can't really blame Ollie for not getting those signings right. And I just think there's so much gone right at the club, because Ollie had to come in. He had to do more than change us winning games and winning things. Like he had to change the style of play. He had to get rid of a load of players that were just cashing a check and happy to play for Man United, but they weren't anywhere near good enough. He had to get rid of the mercenaries like Sanchez and Lukaku, who weren't bothered for that. And he's had to, and it looks like he's changed the whole recruiting structure as well, because under Mourinho, or if we were under Mourinho or Van Gaal, that whole Sancho saga last season, we'd ended up with Sancho, but we'd ended up paying 120 million.
Yeah.
I just feel like under Ollie to sit and go, no, this is what we're paying. We're paying 100 million, and we're going to end up getting them for 80 million this year. I'm that confident that we will, because we stood our ground, and now Dortmund are now struggling for money. Like he's changed everything that was wrong at this club. He's changed it all from the ground up, and now he's obviously he's got his own coaching staff around him that he trusts. Obviously, people's opinions on that will vary depending on how qualified they are. But we're just so much better than where we were a few seasons ago. Like I don't see how you can't think this is a positive step. And Rach's absolutely right. Nothing's a given, especially in football now with the money that's thrown around. Like to win massive competitions, you need to spend a lot of money. We're not in the position to spend 200 million every transfer window and then throw out 200 million pounds worth of shit at the end of it, like Chelsea and City do and PSG. Like we need to be a bit more astute with our signings, and people can say, "Oh, we earn this much money." That's fantastic. Really, really glad that we do. But
the owners won't spend it.
Exactly. Whether the owners won't spend it or not, it doesn't mean that because the signings that we've got, getting someone like Bruno Fernandes for 40 odd million, that's a great bit of business. Like that is fantastic bit of business. That's yeah. And all he said when he came in that he'd been scouting Bruno for 18 months to 2 years. Like that's proper football management. That's not someone that's gone into FIFA and gone, well, he's high rated, he can come play for us. Like that, what it felt like with Van Gaal and Mourinho. It just felt like we were bringing in anyone that could that was vaguely okay at other football clubs, but it just seems like there's genuine thought behind every signing. And I have complete faith in Ollie and what he's trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I echo.
Yeah, absolutely. But breath of fresh air. And okay, you're going to lose games of football. Boo-hoo. It'll be brilliant to beat everyone every single week, but that's not football. But we're just so much better than we are now. And we've got a real chance now to win a trophy and start on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and look, this is the thing. If he wins the Europa League this year, I want these guys to have another excuse.
Yeah, they will.
Because think about this. If you're going to come to me with these excuses and you're going to, if you're going to have this agenda, please have cold, hard facts to back up your agenda. Because if you don't, and it's named this agenda, it's just an agenda, Joe, with nothing behind it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So look, I'll leave that there. But anyway, kind of going back to Thursday, my favorite part of the show now, score predictions. And I always like to get into this. And again, as me and Amy are on the same show, we're not hijacking each other's predictions with our own score predictions. So just with regards to this, I'm going to go straight to Amy first for her score prediction. How do you think this game is going down on Thursday?
I'm going to say 3-0. Bruno will get a penalty. I think Pogba will score, and I think Greenwood will score.
Nice.
So we're going to get a 3-0. Rach, how are you feeling?
Yep, I'm confident. I'm going to go 3-0 as well. But I think we'll get a Greenwood double and a Bruno. Not a penalty, just a worldy free kick.
No problem. That's all what we'd like to see. Another Bruno Fernandes goal to fill my propaganda train. Greg, are you positive too?
Yeah, I was going to say 3-0, but I'll go 4-0. Why not? I do think I think we've got the capability to absolutely batter Granada, and that's no disrespect to them. Like, they've done well to get here, but at the end of the day, we're a much better side than they are. Okay. So I think we'll be 4-0. And Bruno will get a brace, and Greenwood will get a brace. Why not?
So we've got 3-0. Was it Rach? You were 3-0 too, weren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, so we've 3-0, 4-0. I'm gonna go 0. I'm only messing.
Boot him.
No. No, I'm gonna go 4-0 United as well. I think look, again, no disrespect, but I think if we play a full strength side, we should have enough to go and beat that. I think we could put the game to bed. And I think again, it's if Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes are at their best, I just don't see how they get anything from us. I really don't. Like, if them two have controlled that ball game, I just don't see any way that Granada can touch us, to be brutally honest. So I'm going to go 4-0. I'm going to go Mason Greenwood to get a double. I'm going to go Bruno Fernandes, again, not from the penalty spot because I'm keeping that for Sunday. And do you know what? Just for Mr. Greg Chambers, Donny van de Beek to come off the bench and score.
Imagine he did.
I'm telling
I said he played well.
Van de Beek
I don't have no agenda against him. I just want him to play better than what he has done. Like, that's all. Like, he's coming with a big reputation. Prove it. That's all I'm saying. He's not our midfield saviour. Like, everyone tweets me every time he's not in a starting lineup. I'm like, go away. Like, there's a reason he's not in it. He doesn't fit. He's not going to displace Bruno, and he's not a defensive midfielder. Like, use your brain and your eyes. Like, just think about things a bit. But he played well on Sunday. Like, that's fine. I want him to play on Thursday. I said that. I want him to start. It'd be interesting to see him start, especially with Pogba and Bruno, because I think he does benefit with more creative players around him. So it'll be interesting to see him start with those two as well. Yeah.
Absolutely, be definitely interesting to see 100%. And again, look, if he does score, we will 100%. Yeah, look, if Van de Beek scores 100%, my prediction is getting clipped up and is getting sent straight to Greg on his Facebook and on Twitter and on every social media platform that he's on.
No one thinks
I'll
Fred's
have to
going to
get
get
you
his
to
goal.
stamp that name. No.
No one thinks Fred's going to get his.
I'll learn
for
how to
Fred's
fly
goal.
before Fred scores a goal for United.
I was saying the other day, I reckon he runs onto a volley at the edge of the box in the final and just slams it top bins. Imagine the scenes. Oh, he would be written into folklore.
Imagine if
We
Fred
couldn't get rid
scores the
of him.
winner against Arsenal in the final.
Nah, that would be. I've seen him score once, and I've never been so baffled in my life. Like I was at the Bruges game last year, and he scored, and I was miffed. I couldn't believe it went in.
Imagine what this channel would be like, right? If Fred scored the winner in the Europa League final. Imagine Three Devils and the Gooner. Imagine the London Lowdown and Devil's Advocate. Oh my God! Like that would
They treat
just
him like
be
a charity
lit,
case. They actually treat him like a charity case. Like the way the commentators speak about him. It's like against Manchester City, he did a nutmeg, and Guy Neville's like, "Oh, Fred's even doing nutmegs." Like he's a professional footballer. Like he's not. It's not someone who just picked from the stands to go like, "You go and play." And then like he hits shots and it cuts to Ollie, and Ollie's like clapping and smiling. He's like, he's like he does play football. Like he should be able to do better than that.
I actually loved that though. When I saw Ollie like clapping at him, I was just like, that's
so
really cute. But I was just like, he's like
so patronising.
He's like his grandma or something at his football game. He's like, go on, lad.
Yeah. I bet Ollie's got like finger pins of Fred, like for Fred on his fridge.
Oh, Fred. Someone needs to check his passport though.
He was brilliant on Sunday. To be fair to him, he was absolutely brilliant on Sunday. He was so good. That's his best game in a while.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. He did play well. I'll give him that. But yeah, look, that's just the end of our show here today, guys. Obviously, so next coming up on the channel is this Friday, 8 p.m. The show you've all been waiting for. Devil's Advocate, Manchester United versus Tottenham preview. I will have Steve McGrath from the London Lowdown on our show, resident Tottenham fan. Myself and himself will be on. And also joining us that day will be Mr. Shane Dowley. You know what's coming. Steve McGrath, Shane Dowley on the same show. Sparks are going to fly, my friends. Absolutely. And also, as you see the two girls beside me, they're back also next week. Three Devils and a Gooner is back next week as Amy, Rach, Jen and Sophie. They're all back next week too. Hopefully talking about positive results in the Europa League for United. And I'm also going to say a positive result for Arsenal as well, because I want to see Arsenal absolutely smash up them racist bastards and Slavia Prague. So yeah, absolutely. Hopefully both positive results for United and Arsenal, and hopefully a positive result in the Premier League against Spurs as well. They'll be able to do that. But just before we go, obviously like, share and subscribe. And I'm going to come to the final comment tonight. Regards to the show. In the words of the late great Claude, we're going to end the show tonight, and it's time to go. Thanks very much to everyone for watching.